Welcome back, Richard. It's good to see you.
Hey,
It's
Berney.
fine morning.
It's December.
It is December.
Yeah.
December, finally.
Even I can calculate how many more shopping days there are.
That's
No,
true.
it's everybody's talked about it every time you talk to somebody. It's I can't believe it's October. I can't believe it's November. Well, here we are.
Yep.
about 30 days to go, and
Yep.
we'll be in 2024. So
Yeah. So it's
December.
it's the end of the year, and we're going to talk a little bit about the holidays. But we ended last podcast sort of with a spoiler, or with a little bit of a preview of a conversation. We were going to do an interview this week, and it got pushed to next week, but it's firmly on the calendar now. So we'll have that on the 9th. And we'll be recording it on the 9th. We'll be posting it next weekend. And we're really looking forward to that conversation with a local psychiatrist that we've worked with for a number of years, and talk about some new treatments for depression and different mood related things. So that's going to, in here, that's even a bigger preview of and so we're really hoping everything works out.
Right.
We are able to do that interview next weekend.
Yeah, we've pushed that back. We had to reschedule that one twice. So hopefully next week will be the launch date for that one. Yeah,
absolutely. But today
we want to talk about
the holiday.
Yeah, we kept debating whether to jump into this holiday advice business or not, and but we thought, oh well, here we are in December, and so let's prepare ourselves, get ready for this one. But the main reason that we want to talk about this is because more and more people this year, and we don't know whether it's just anecdotal or whatever, but people are saying, I feel more stressed this year with the holidays coming than I ever have before. They say, and more people are saying that there's this increased stress. I don't think it's related to the pandemic. I think we're far enough away from the pandemic, so I don't think we can blame it on that. But you hear more and more people talking about it. And so we found this article. It's written by a woman, Sherry Carter, who specializes in women and stress, particularly how stress affects women, particularly women in the workplace, who even though they're working full time, still have primary responsibility for home and children. And so they're under increased stress. And she really wrote this article for women, but everything applies to all of us who are working and entering this holiday season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's no doubt that we're all experiencing more stress. Not sure why.
Right.
Like you said, we can't really keep blaming COVID, though I think that COVID sort of put us in a particular mindset. And then as we're shifting that mindset to a different mindset, I think that there's some, fascinating dynamics that are happening there. But there were some recent surveys, and 44% of workers report feeling more stress during the holiday season. And we know that the holidays always bring more stress naturally, because, and folks struggle with the idea of, well, but I enjoy the holidays. Why do I feel so much more stressed over the holidays? And well, stress is stress. It doesn't matter if it's good stress or bad stress. Stress is stress, and so we feel it because there's more traffic, there's more people, and every time you go to the store, there's more people in the store. Even if you're just going to the grocery store, so there's more hustle and bustle. There's more. There's more. Sort of just high energy, more lights, more everything, and all of that increases stress, and it makes things, a little bit more on edge.
Yeah, and you make a good point that in this time of what's supposed to be a happy time, a joyous time, 61% of people feel negatively affected by the holidays.
Yeah.
There's something coming this month that has people on edge.
Right.
And we're not exactly sure why, but we do know that more and more of us are feeling increased stress during this holiday season. And I think you're right. If you think about the holiday season, you're talking about the parking lots are full, right? I mean, we had an event recently, and there was no parking where we were in downtown in Lakeland, and it was hard to find a parking place, and so that increases your stress. Stores have longer lines. We're in a hurry. We have to get things done in a couple of weeks, and everybody's stressed. So there's more going on. But again, is it any different than it ever has been? I don't know. But there is a level of stress this year that seems to be higher than we've ever experienced before. At least that's how people are talking.
Absolutely. And there are some work-related things, because it's the end of the year. So you have all of the, annual things that you have to complete, whether it's, different end of year deadlines or performance reviews. But in general, many of us are seeing increased workloads sort of in general. I was talking to someone the other day, and we were talking a colleague, and we were talking about our schedules and just how busy it seems to be, in particular this holiday season. Oftentimes, there'll be a little bit of a dip when the holidays come, because people are busy, they're traveling, they're doing different things. But our schedules are just as busy, if not busier than ever before. And it just, again, seems as though there's more pressure, more expectation. Let's not forget about teachers. Here in our area, they're doing the statewide, progress monitoring testing. They're doing that next week. And so, you have these big tests coming for students, and all of this stuff happening all at the same time that we have preparing for the holidays. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and one of the things we have to remember is that for many, in many industries, in many occupations, the holiday season is the busiest time of their year. That's not just for store employees, but you think of ER, emergency room staff, okay? They're busier during the holiday seasons. Any first responder, whether it's firefighter, paramedic, police, they're busier, and they kind of prepare for the Thanksgiving holiday and the Christmas holiday and New Year's. There are lots and lots of people that this is the busiest time of their year. So not only do they have added work responsibility, but now they have to squeeze in a holiday during the busiest weeks of their work year.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, you have end of year deadlines. Am I going to get my Christmas bonus? Is there going to be a Christmas? Is our company even going to be around next year? There's job insecurity. There was an announcement today that somebody's laying off 200 employees. And that comes at this time of year, which is very difficult. So there are lots of work-related stressors that we often forget. I think of teachers. One of the most difficult weeks of the year for teachers is the week just before the holiday recess. Because the kids are, especially younger kids, they are busting loose. They want to get out, right? And there's a lot of special programs, and they're anticipating the holidays, and it's hard to keep the lid on and do your job if you're a teacher during this week, and you still have to prepare for the holidays. So you're working harder at work, and you have to prepare for the holidays.
Right. Yeah. So
outside of work.
I was just going to say, you have all of that stuff happening at work, and then you have all of the stuff outside of work, whether it's, I was talking to my wife the other day about, I keep getting, my mailbox, my email box is flooded with, Black Friday sales, but those emails started a week before Black Friday. It's still Cyber Monday, even though it's a week later, and we're still getting emails, last chance to take advantage of Cyber Monday.
We've extended Cyber Monday.
It's so bizarre, but you have all of these sales happening, and it makes you feel as though, well, I need to take advantage of this if I'm going to get something. And so again, just additional stress, which of course leads to financial stress. And there's just so much both at work and outside of work that, it's no wonder that we have this significant increase in stress during this time of year.
A friend of mine sent me another article that he found, and it's written by a professional psychologist, and she's talking about impulse buying versus compulsive shopping. Right. So, I mean, if it gets to compulsive shopping, then you have some kind of a disorder. But we get bombarded. I mean, walk into a store, walk into any store, and what do you hear? Christmas music and sales and packaging, and all this stuff is constantly bombarding you, and to take advantage of this sale and that sale, and you're just bombarded at this time of year, and that creates stress. I should be doing more. I need to do more, and that creates stress. So we have work-related stressors and stressors that are outside the workplace. They're in stores and shops and on TV and radio, and we're constantly being barraged of what we should be buying and things that we should get. So lots of reasons to feel stressed.
Yeah, and not to mention your schedules, because we were talking about this before we started recording today. But there is literally something scheduled every day. So you're at work during the day, and then every evening you have something scheduled, and then there's things going on Saturdays and Sundays, and it's just our schedules are getting more and more busy. And again, you're doing all of these things with more people out, there's more crowds, there's more bustle around all over the place. And so in the article that we posted a link in the show notes, but in the article she talks about 5 different ways to keep some of that spirit, that Christmas spirit, the holiday spirit alive. And I think that some of these are pretty good recommendations.
Well, I like them for 2 reasons. She's pretty lighthearted. What she did was she sort of borrowed from these Christmas themes for her 5 ways to keep the spirit alive, making Christmas bright, keeping it bright, and we're borrowing heavily from her for the 5. So for the first one, example is making a list and checking it twice. We all know where that's from. But the reason you do that is because you got to reduce your list. Okay. You got to make your list, but you're probably going to have to reduce it. And she gives you so number one, it's cute, holiday-ish, but it's also very practical advice, and advice that we should follow probably all year long, but certainly during this time of year. So for example, when she says, make your list and check it twice, she said, you really ought to do 3 things. First of all, write it down. So it's capture, organize, and prioritize. Capture is you write it down. In writing it down, you clarify your thinking. She said, don't have all the stuff just swirling around your head. Write down what you plan to do. Okay. And then take that list of all the things you want to do and organize it into what you need to do versus what you'd like to do, what you want to do. And she said, then make 2 different lists. Okay. And then prioritize those with due dates, so that if you have to have your Christmas goose purchased by this, and put a date there. Putting the date gives you the priority. And that's what you need. You need to list things by date so that you have a very clear schedule in your own mind of what you have to do. Then if you can get to what I want to do, that's fine. But you get that list of what I have to do. So I think the first advice of make your list and check it twice so that you can reduce the number of obligations that you're putting on yourself.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we always sort of add into this area is, a big stressor that people feel this time of year is buying gifts and that financial burden. And I think that part of the list that we need to be making is a realistic list as to who we're buying for and what we're buying and those kind of things, so that we can keep those financial constraints contained.
Right.
You know, there's, you mentioned impulsive buying versus compulsive spending. The important thing with this is, you know, if you can put it in a list and stick to the list, you're going to do much better to stay within your budget than if you know, go to the store and say, oh man, I've got to get something for Richard this year. What am I going to get? And you're just going to start, you know, finding things and buying things, and suddenly you're going to be spending much more than you anticipated. And so keeping that list, not just for those obligations, but also for what you're going to spend.
Right. The other thing I like is to say, you know, get some dollar amount and say, I can spend $2,000 this year. Well, and when the $2,000 is spent, then it's spent. Okay. But keep it contained. Yeah. The other one, the next one, she says, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. What she means here is get outside and move. And we like that 12 months a year. Nature is a stress reliever. During the winter months, most of us spend more time inside. And we really should be getting outside, because nature, just being outside, is a stress reliever. So is activity. You have to stay active. And it doesn't take much. I was very happy to hear her include that, you know, we hear 20 minutes of exercise 3 days a week. Okay, well, where did that come from? That's enough to produce lower cortisol levels, lower this cortisol, the steroid hormone that we produce. And if you're just active for 20 minutes, 3 times a day, 3 times a week, you're going to lower your cortisol levels. And the final thing is getting out in the sun. And we know that being in the sun has mental health benefits. We know about seasonal affective disorder and vitamin D. And so there are plenty of benefits to being out in natural light that the sun is giving you. So the second thing she says is get outside, get some exercise. And that's a good antidote for all the inside overstimulation that you're going to get.
Absolutely. And she, you know, as you said, this is something that we recommend year round, but it's especially important this time of year, because when it's cold, we tend to want to stay inside. But here in Florida, we have the opposite, where, you know, in the summer, it's so hot, we want to stay inside. And so it's the same then as it is now. In the winter, where we have to get ourselves outside of the house and into the sun and into nature a little bit. But then she does a great job of sort of balancing that with number 3 is home alone time. Going home alone from the movie, the Christmas movie.
Borrowing from the movie. Yeah.
But home alone time, because there are times when we need to sort of disconnect from all of that busyness going on around us, and just kind of stay home or stay to ourselves to sort of recalibrate our emotions and, you know, refuel our mental stores of energy, so that we can, you know, it improves concentration, it helps with problem solving, it helps with so many things, just to spend some quiet time, you know, usually disconnected from social media and some of those kinds of things, but, you know, detaching from some of that for a period of time, just so that you can, you know, rejuvenate yourself a little bit.
That's right. When we talk about alone time, she talks about home alone. We talk about alone time, we're talking about disconnecting from others. You get this increased stimulation during the holidays. You're interacting with people more. People are greeting you. You're at parties, you're at get-togethers, you're at dinners, and there's a lot more interaction, but that interaction wears you down. Okay. Right. And so you need to disconnect. When we talk about disconnecting, not only in real relationships, but put your phone down. You're not relaxing if you're on your phone, or if you're on your iPad, or you're on your computer. We mean disconnecting completely, just for brief periods. Doesn't have to be long. Right. Put your phone in one room and you go into another room and just be alone. disconnect completely. And as you say, you'll recalibrate, you will rejuvenate your brain.
Yeah.
Close the door, isolate yourself and schedule some alone time.
Right.
Put alone time into your schedule.
Absolutely. And I think that that scheduled part is so important because, we do know that there's a sort of some negative consequences to being lonely,
Right.
and to spending too much time alone. And so
Exactly.
we want this to be a relatively contained, structured, scheduled time.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, okay, I'm going to spend, the next week by myself.
No.
Certainly that's excessive, but, spending a little bit of time, even if it's just an hour or two, alone, so that you can recharge those batteries, I think is so important. And her number 4 is another one of our primary recommendations year round. We always recommend exercise. We always recommend for people to sort of monitor how they're eating and things like that. But number 4 is silent nights, and just the importance of sleep. And Richard, I know you and I have talked about this a lot recently, because of our personal sleep schedules. They're not always great, as we meet here at 4:00 in the morning to record the podcast. But
Bernie, that was supposed to be our secret.
But it's something that, when we have so many things going on, we start to carve out time. And one of the easy things to carve out of is sleep time and rest time. And we have to be very mindful and careful of that during the holiday season, because if you don't, it can very easily put you into this sort of a sleep deficit, where your body starts to experience more stress. Because remember, stress is stress. And so not getting enough sleep, that's a stress.
Right. And you have to remember things like food intake and alcohol intake. If those increase during this time of year, your body's going to pay a price for that. Most people know that alcohol interferes with restful sleep. Okay. And people tend to drink more during the holiday season.
Right.
Holiday dinners, holiday celebrations are a time when people may drink a little bit more. But alcohol, while it puts you to sleep, while it makes you tired, may make you tired, it interferes with the amount of time that you sleep. Okay, so you wake up sooner. So it might make you a little drowsy, but it's going to interfere with how long you're going to sleep. And so all these things are working against good sleep hygiene. And just like being alone, you have to be very careful. You have to be very mindful to do the things you need to do to sleep well during the holidays. Remember, it's a time of increased stress, so you need to be more mindful of your sleep, because you're gonna need to sleep more and better during this time.
Absolutely. And finally, we get to number 5, which is make your days merry. And again, we love this idea of just spending time doing things that make you happy, things that you enjoy. She talks about the ways that laughter releases dopamine and boosts your immune system. It boosts your just sense of well-being. It makes you feel more satisfied with what's happening in your life and what's going on. And so do things that make you happy or make you laugh or make you, what you enjoy, so that you can boost some of those natural hormones and chemicals that just make you feel better.
Yeah, I would say to people, just try it. Do an experiment. Laughter, not just being happy, but actual belly laughs. Laughter releases dopamine. It's just like running and exercising. It releases dopamine. And it also helps your immune system. For some reason, laughter is very good for you. Try it out. When you're feeling stressed, I don't know where you get your comedy routines, but if you're able to have a good laugh, that's probably as good a thing. It's as good as anything else you can do,
right,
to have an antidote for all the stress you're going to be experiencing during this time of year. So make your days merry and bright, and fill them with laughter if you can. And I think if you try it, try some good old laughter, I think you'll find that it makes you feel much, much better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So she has, I love these 5 things. So it's easy to remember. Make your list and check it twice. Keep Jack Frost nipping. Home Alone 3. Silent Night, and Make Your Days Merry. Remember those 5 things. We list, I guess it'll be in the show notes, right? We list the articles if you want to take a look at the 5. But be mindful, be thoughtful, and do everything you can do to mitigate against the inevitable stress that you're going to feel at work and when you're out in the holiday season.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, we have a few weeks left before Christmas is here, and the end of the end of the year, and all comes with all of those things. So take some of this advice from this article, and you know, we will certainly be doing the same thing, and you know, try to manage some of that stress and deal with things a little bit better, so that they can be as enjoyable as possible. And just do the best you can. That's really all that we can do.
And you know, as I read through this article and thought about what she was saying. And so what you want to do is you want to be careful. You want to do activities that reduce stimulation. You're going to be bombarded. You know, it's nice to go into a store and hear the Christmas music and see all the Christmas lights, but all that stimulation comes at a price. Okay, and not just money price. It comes at an emotional price. It exhausts. While it stimulates you and makes you feel better, it also is going to exhaust you because it's so much stimulation. So you want to reduce those overstimulating activities. Do them, but do them in moderation. Second, introduce activities that calm you. You know, whether it's laughter or solitude or quiet time or alone time. Look for activities that calm you between these highly stimulating sessions. And then look for activities that make you happy. They're out there, you know, and do what you need to do, whether it's spend time in church, spend time in a store, spend time with family, spend time alone. Do the activities that make you happy, that fill you with joy. And then I think the final thing that she stresses throughout is reduce. We are all a little too ambitious at holiday time. We're taking on more than we should. So be mindful of the obligations that you're putting on yourselves. Absolutely. And reduce those things that you don't really have to do. Do the things that you need to do, but do them well, and take care of yourself while you're doing it.
Absolutely. Great advice. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for today. As we said at the outset today, we'll be back next week, hopefully with the interview that we teased over the last couple of weeks. And that'll be a fun conversation. And really looking forward to that interview. So, and I'm sure that we will talk again about the holidays and how to wrap up and make things send 2023 off and welcome 2024 as well as we can. So until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and forget to be afraid.